The time is now, episode 303. You cannot achieve in your business what you truly want if you cannot see it. In this episode, we're going to talk about the 3 important pillars that will help you achieve what you want in your business. And those pillars go beyond goal setting. Welcome to The Time Is Now, the podcast show designed to take action and stay on top of your game to make a bigger impact with your business while creating more freedom and purpose in your life. This is your host, Emel Deregi. As your business and marketing coach, I am here to help you get the clarity and the action plan you need to position yourself as the go-to expert in your field and grow a business that is aligned with your needs. This is your time to create more growth, alignment, and impact with your business. And what a better time than this time of the year where we talk about starting the year and looking at what you want to achieve moving forward. So if you are listening to this episode at the time when it is aired, it is the beginning of January 2024, and we are getting started to hopefully start the foundations of an amazing year. But no matter when you are listening to this episode, I do believe in the importance of taking the time to reflect on your goals. And actually, beyond goals, I want to talk about your intentions. What are your intentions through your business? But also, how do you want to show up in your business? And for me, that is more important than setting goals. Although I hear so much debate around whether we should set up goals or not, about mindfulness, about the importance to listen to our intuition, to go with the flow. I believe in all of that. However, I've seen more and more people say, I don't define my goals because that doesn't work, and I've tried so many years and it doesn't lead anywhere, so I'm just going to follow my intuition. And I do think that there's a lot of truth to that. However, I do believe in the importance of being intentional. If setting goals is not what works for you, then at least make sure to be intentional with the way you are showing up for yourself, for your client, and for your business. This is so important. If you just constantly just go with the flow, which often just means with whatever comes to you, you just follow it, there is also a truth to that. But the reason why most people are struggling with setting goals, it's often because there are some important things that are not clear to them. And this is what I want to talk about today in this episode, but also some of the circumstances in which we create goals and how we keep track of them that lead us to often not reach them and ultimately just give up on even setting up goals. So I don't know where you stand about goal setting. I, in my own experience, have been really drawn into setting goals every year because that has worked for me to set up goals. And I've often talked about this topic in this episode. And for me, the secret, as I've mentioned many times, is that in order to reach our goals, we need to track them regularly and we need to keep an eye on them and also adjust those goals as things happen, as things move forward. So we need to have those regular moments throughout the year to check in on how we're doing and adjust to what is working, what is not working. And this is how we end the year, by feeling like we were in control, right? So overall, this is an important point I want to share with you before we start talking about this topic today. And I do have more episodes in my sleeve if you want to dive more into the actual process of goal setting in my podcast. However, as I said, I think that one of the reasons why people struggle with their goals is because they have these 3 important pillars that are missing. And that is why I wanted to focus on these important pillars with you in this episode, beyond just talking about goal setting. So the first pillar, if you're thinking right now about how you want to run your business and what you want to achieve this year, the first pillar is about having, guess what? Clarity with your vision. Very often we do not reach our goals because simply they're not aligned. because they're not fitting to what we truly want to do, or other things are not fitting with what we truly want to do, which we'll talk about it later. But the first place is to have clarity with our vision. And that clarity with our vision, we need to embody it. We need to feel it emotionally. We need to feel it psychologically with our mindset, but also with our body. And I do see it with my own journey and the people I've been working with and people I've been talking to. When we don't have that clarity, when we don't feel that vision that we have, then we struggle to actually make those goals that we set for our businesses happen. So if you're not clear about what you truly want through your business, I would like to invite you to check one of my episodes about that. That actually was the most popular episode of the year 2023. So check it out. I will put it in the show notes of this episode, which is on thetimeisnow.biz/303. But make sure that you're sitting down and really tuning into your own journey, into what you truly want to achieve, and create that space for you to even think about it, for you to even envision it and help yourself project yourself in the midterm and the long term. Where do you want to be? I know it's very difficult sometimes to have those answers, but as long as you don't have them, it's really hard to actually define the goals. And sometimes it's also about being honest with ourselves. Being honest with what we think we should do versus what we truly want to do. So please take the time to reflect on what is it that thing that you want to do through your business. What is it, that thing that you truly want to achieve and that animates you? And that is one of the important parts of what I call alignment. As you might know by now, the Time Is Now podcast show and everything I do is really focused on three important elements, which is growth, alignment, and impact. And alignment is the key to being able to create growth and then turn it into impact. So if you have the slightest doubt on what you truly want to achieve, more than just your financial goals, but what does that mean for you, then make sure to clarify that. So once that's clear, there's a second pillar that I feel is often missing for people to reach their goals. And again, it's more than just goals. It's about being intentional with our business and how we show up in our business as well as in our life. And that second pillar is our habits and our routines. So here as well, I've heard so many conversations and I've been so many times having this debate with friends and peers and clients about, oh my God, I hate routines. I hate having habits. And it feels like my life is not authentic when I have such a structured life. I've heard this so many times in my life. And to be honest with you, I felt it as well. There were times in my life where I felt like I don't want to have a rigid lifestyle. It is so unsexy. It actually does not give me that freedom, that feeling of freedom that I'm looking for. But I want to tell you something that's for me, like I just see it and feel it in my own journey, how habits are actually the representation of our identity and who we are through what we do in our day-to-day life. Our habits define us. And when you think that you don't have habits, not having habits are actually habits on its own. So what I've experienced in my own journey and all my peers have been really successful, and when I've seen my clients as well, the thing that made them be able to actually achieve what they wanted to achieve is to have habits and routines that are aligned with their vision and what they want to achieve. And sometimes it has nothing to do with business. Sometimes the habits and routines we need to create are completely not disconnected, they're connected, but they're not related to business itself. One of the examples I can share with you is in my own case when I decided to rebrand my business from Tandem Nomads to The Time Is Now. One of the first big changes I had to do was actually my habits. And those habits, again, had nothing to do with the rebranding. I am all about alignment. And one of the biggest thing for me is to make sure that my business works for me and not the other way around. So I asked myself, how do I want to show up in my business? And my first answer was that I wanted to put my well-being at the center of my business. And then I asked myself, what does that mean in terms of habits? How do I show up in my life to actually sustain that statement that I made to myself? And that's when I started this journey of making sure that I start the day with what makes me feel good and happy before I even start doing things that are the list of tasks that I need to tackle for the day. And that's when I made as a priority to go to bed at a certain time, to also change my diet and how I eat before I go to bed. And ultimately, the goal was to make sure that for the rest of the year that I create the habit of going from my bed straight to my yoga mat. And the first part of the year, it was really hard. I could not consistently do it. I did not manage to go straight to my bed, to the yoga mat right away. But the more I kept going at it, the more I tried, the more it just became natural. At this point, I don't even think about it. When I wake up, open my eyes, the first thing I do is go straight to my mat, do the yoga and the meditation that brings me peace, that brings me alignment, and that connects me with my vision. Because when I do my meditation, I am actually connecting with that big why. Why am I doing that? So as you can see, this routine and this habit has nothing to do with the business, but I truly, truly immediately attached that routine that I've built to the fact that I had a smooth transition. Actually, smooth is not the word, to be honest with you, but I managed to achieve that goal of launching my new brand and rebranding my whole business, which was a huge piece after 8 years. It was a huge, huge project, and it was not easy psychologically to give up on that tandem nomads that meant so much to me. And there was so much work behind the scenes to transfer 8 years of content to a new platform. And what made it possible for me, number one, is to have redefined my habits and my routines. So please, even if you think that routines and habits are not making you happy, think about how you can actually create the habits and the routines that do align with what makes you happy. This is important. And I do think for those of you who think that habits and routines are a prison, for me, my habits and my routines are what create freedom. Because when I have created the habits that create space for what matters to me, suddenly I'm more free to do all the other things that matter to me. So I do have two wonderful books I want to recommend you. My actually entrepreneurial journey has taken a whole different turn. Again, 8 years ago, when I went from consulting corporate companies, and I was not very happy, to be honest with you, to starting Tandem Nomads, the first thing that I have done as well was to change my routines. And the book that had completely revolutionized how I do it is a book called The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. And the second book that I actually ended up reading a second time before my rebranding, because I felt like I needed to readjust my habits, was Atomic Habits by James Clear. I can only highly recommend you these two books if you are committed to making the changes that you need in your life to be able to achieve what you truly want to achieve. Because at the end of the day, it is about commitment. It's more than about hard work. Hard work has such a negative connotation. And for me, the most important is consistency. Building the consistency and the routines and the habits you need in your life to be able to create that identity and that reality that you want to see. And very often, the biggest problem of solo entrepreneurs, small business owners is time management. So for you to be able to manage your time and to be able to find the time to make all the things you want to see happen is by being very intentional with the way you lead your life. And that starts with how you run your day. How are you going from day to day through all the things you have to do between managing your household, managing your needs, and managing your business can be very, very overwhelming. But as soon as you are intentional with being in charge of how you decide to wake up every morning and going to bed at night, those are the key moments for you to actually set the intention of how you want to run your day and how you want to live your whole life and not just that day-to-day routine. So when I often say that achieving your goals and most importantly, bringing your vision to reality has a lot to do with asking yourself, who do you want to be? And how do you want to show up in your life and your business? And in that question, a lot of the answers are going in analyzing how you are managing your day to day and how are you making sure to create intentional moments during the day where you are present mentally in the efforts that you're doing to bring your vision to reality. And I know, trust me, I know how hard it can be to make those shifts and those changes. But I can tell you that every time I've taken my business and my journey to the next level, the first question that I ask myself is, what are the habits I need to change to make this happen? And I do attribute every one of those achievements to the habits that I've implemented. And I am thinking, as I'm talking to you right now, I keep thinking as well of all of you who have kids and who have probably young kids. And there's different stages of life, obviously, where such things are more or less possible. But I want you to keep it in your mind, because even when you have children who are young, you are having habits. No matter if you want it or not, you are building habits. So just figure out what are the habits that work for you. The idea is not to stretch yourself to the point where you burn out. The idea of building your right habits and routines is to figure out what works for you. What are the habits that work for you and allow you to do what you need to do? And also making sure that you are creating some realistic goals that are aligned with your current needs in other areas of your lives. So building habits also help you to make sure that you don't burn out through all the things that you have to do. And ultimately, it might also push you to set up some trade-offs of what you can do and what you can't do. So my biggest second call after being clear about what you want to achieve is to really make it your priority before even thinking about strategy, before even thinking about business, revenue streams. Reflect and adopt the habits that will help you take your journey to the next level. And once you have done that, then you can think as well about your environment. And that's the third pillar. By environment, I mean your community and your support system. This is such an important pillar to all entrepreneurs who have actually managed to achieve their goals and to bring their vision to reality. If you talk to people who have been successful, a lot of them have managed to do it because they have built a strong community around them, from starting from home to their industry and their business environment. In my case, for example, whenever I had something major to achieve through my business, I know that the first person I would talk to would be my husband, by telling him, listen, this is what I have coming up, and it's so important for me to be able to get there. I would love to have your help to keep me accountable with this, but also I'd love to have some support in XYZ area. For instance, for me, cooking is one of the areas where my husband and I alternate. There are times where he's the one who cooks more. There are times where I'm the one who cooks more. And anything related to shopping, running our household, cleaning, and all of that, we are very mindful about actually talking about who is going to be in charge of what at what time of the year, depending on who needs what and what kind of support. Even with our social life, there are times where I would ask my husband, can you be in charge of keeping up with our social life, of communicating with our friends and all of that, so that I can have the bandwidth, the mental bandwidth, because often it has more to do with mental bandwidth than the actual time that we need. So yeah, having that communication in your household, with your partner, with your family, with your kids is so important to involve them so that they don't get surprised when suddenly they see you're not able to be present in every moment of the family life and the daily chores, etc. I can't remember if it was Mel Robbins or Brene Brown who had said this amazing thing that I've seen once, which was life in a partnership is never 50-50. It cannot be 50-50. But it doesn't have to be, for instance, 80-20 or 60-40 all the time for the same person. It's all about communicating and alternating the times one needs the other more and communicating that very clearly. This is so important. And for those who are not in a partnership, it comes with a lot of benefits, but also inconveniences, as it can feel also very lonely. And this is where the second part comes in that's really important. Beyond the household, it is so important that you are surrounded with like-minded people who help you think outside the box, who challenge you, who know about your industry. And even when they don't, they are there to give you honest feedback and raw feedback and constructive feedback, but also giving you inspiration with their own journey. And this is where I believe having a business community to help you have a container where you can reflect about your business. It's as if you basically create a board of directors for your business, even if you're a one-man or woman show. It's the same concept, and it's so important, even if you're a small business, a solo entrepreneur or a freelancer or self-employed, that you are making sure that there are some people around you who feel invested and involved in your business as if it was theirs. For me, for example, I've been having my own mastermind that I've been meeting almost every Friday for the past 3 years. And the level of honesty and accountability that I found there was amazing. So I'm really so grateful to each person of that mastermind that has helped me keep up with my own business, my own goals, and also given me real honest feedback when needed, when I was not showing up the way I wanted to show up. But on top of the mastermind, for me, I also found so much inspiration in being part of a group of like-minded people from different industries, not just mine, where we bring each other the inspiration and collaborate and support each other. This has been one of the highlights of the past year for me, where I've been searching for this community and I couldn't find it. And one of my mottos in life is if you can't find something, you create it. And this is how I created this community in Vienna called the Cosmopolitan Table, with women from diverse backgrounds, professional women's leaders and entrepreneurs who come together to inspire each other in their journey and bring their expertise to the rest of the community. It's been an amazing journey, and the community kept growing 1 month after the other. And this is where I said to myself, I need to do the same thing with my global community online. So if you're listening and you want to be part of such a community, know that in the next year, I am planning to create the same foundation, a community where you can find not only a group of like-minded people and entrepreneurs, but also where you can support each other and where you can bring your expertise to each other so that you can stay inspired and you can find the accountability you need to grow in your journey, on top of having my own guidance and support throughout this process. So if you're interested into this idea, then I would love you to share your feedback and your insights in a survey that I'm currently doing to figure out what do you actually need to make this work for you and what you're looking for. So please, if you're interested, please sign up to this survey. On one hand, it helps somehow show your interest and tell me that you're interested. And on the other hand, it will help me understand, based on all the answers I will get, I will be creating a format that works for all of you. So if you are interested, then make sure to find the survey on the show notes of this episode on thetimesnow.biz/303. You will find the link of the survey right there. And once I will receive all the answers that I need, I will be following for all of you who signed up to give you some news of what is next steps for us to make this community happen together. So once you have built this community and had this container for you to grow, then you can start thinking about, okay, what do I need more tangibly? Who do I need to bring more expertise, tangible expertise to get into my business to be able to take it to the next level? And that is more like, what are the areas where you're lacking either time or expertise in your business. So a community is not going to necessarily do that for you. It's more about the nitty-gritty parts of your business that you also have to think about. And that is where you either think of growing your team or bringing an expert to help you and consult you in the decisions you might need to make. And that's where I often intervene for my clients, specifically when it's about building the strategy to reach your goals. I often say, and that's where it goes back to the first pillar, that very often a lot of people get stuck because they are constantly thinking about how to do something. And the most important is actually to figure out what you want to do, and why you are doing that. The how comes afterwards. So if you can't figure out the how, then bring in the people who can figure out the how so that you don't waste your time and energy getting stuck in figuring out the how. And that is where I come into play. So if you feel like you're not clear about your strategy and how to get to where you want to be, then I will be more than happy to support you through this process. In the show notes, you'll also have the link about how you can sign up for an introduction call or an assessment call to assess your needs and figure out where I could help you and how I could help you, and if we are a good fit for each other. So don't hesitate to check the link to sign up for this free assessment call on the show notes of this episode. Again, the time is now.biz/303. All right, so a quick summary about this third important pillar for you to grow your business with intention. The first one is around the idea of community is in your own household and the support system for you to have the bandwidth to be able to focus on your business and grow. Then it's also about inspiration, and along the line of this wonderful quote that I really think is summarizing it all when we say that you are the average of the 5 people you spend most time with. And that also goes into your business. Who are the people in your business community you spend most time with? You want to think about that as well very carefully. And on top of the community, also thinking about the expertise that you need to be able to make strategic decisions and avoid wasting time figuring this out on your own. I hope that this episode has helped you reflect on how you want to show up this year, and make sure that first of all you are really clear on what that means for you. What is it, that thing you want to show up with, and how you want to show up for yourself and in your business. And then the second, look at your routines, look at your habits, no matter how you decide to define it, but please make sure to commit to those habits. Make sure to try, at least, even if it's hard, try to be committed to making it better day after day, because your routines and your habits are what will define how much time and space and energy you have for you to be able to achieve your big dreams. And finally, make sure to surround yourself with the people you need to grow and the people who will be there to push you to get out of your comfort zone, as well as to celebrate you when things go great. And I definitely hope that we will be in touch throughout this year to support you and celebrate you as well throughout the journey. I hope you'll be joining our community, and I look forward to hearing from you, because this is your time to turn your challenges into great opportunities to create more growth, alignment, and impact through your business.